Alright, you guys. So I saw Beck posted up a response to Mr. Snowflake's video part 2. So we're gonna get into this from scanning through Twitter. I saw there's a lot of concerns that people had, and one I screen recorded this, only cut it off at halfway mark because it's a 39-minute video. So I don't know how much I got. Might end up being a two-parter. But anyways, here we go.
Anyway, part 2 for now. Thanks for your questions. Beck, thanks for agreeing to do this. I can't wait to see your response to that taking accountability. Right, here we go. Did Amber ever show what you think was genuine fear or concern when it came to her health and lack of mobility? Or does she just not care if she dies before 50? And did anything genuinely change after the cancer in terms of attitude or trying to get better, even if just temporarily? Good question.
She would sometimes cry and get upset about her weight. When I'd speak to her about it, what hurt her the most was always that she felt she would never be her goal weight and that she would never look the way she wanted to look. Weight loss is hard. I know it is. But it's been so many years since she started her channel that she could have reached that goal in a healthy way, including any slip-ups along the way by now, if she had really wanted to. I think what upset her most was not looking how she wanted to. Health was not the priority at all. Her career on YouTube was much more important than her health, and she said as much multiple times. If she were to lose weight or not be a train wreck, she wouldn't have as many viewers, and that was the most important thing to her, more than any.
Oh my God. Thank you, Beck. I have been saying this over and over, reacting to Amber, reacting to my Canadian bacon. These ladies do not want to lose weight because them being a train wreck because of the weight, they limited themselves. They think that's content. One, they don't realize if they lost the weight, they have a lot more support behind them. People will be cheering them on, and they would have to change their content. That's where they're stuck. They do not want to have to change their content. Their weight is the freaking content. Thank you, Beck, for confirming that for me.
Concern for herself, those around her, or anything else. Nothing changed after her diagnosis.
Did you notice that Amber tends to chameleon herself to be just like the people around her, especially her partners, whether it being towards you or maybe when she was around Destiny/Dana, Jade, or her mom? One of the most fascinating things about Amber is her recording herself morphing into different Lyns. Did you notice that? I noticed it, and I don't notice anything.
I did notice that, and so did everyone around her. That was something that I'd brought up to her multiple times, and so did her friends. When we confronted her, she would say that she didn't realize that she was even doing it, and that it wasn't on purpose. I always thought it was.
And before I forget, sorry you guys, I know I have Beck sped up, and I know she also has Mr. Snowflake sped up, but that's where it's gonna go. And if you need to put on subtitles, that's okay, but I just wanted to let you know that. And being new, never had a real sense of self. Just like Feederism, they don't have a sense of self. They just mimic the people around them, whether they realize it or not, or they try to play it off. The whole personality is mimicking others. That's the whole personality.
Her way of trying to fit in with the people around her. I don't think she has ever truly been confident in herself or in her own interests enough to just be herself around people. Or maybe she knew that who she really wasn't as likable as the people she wanted to befriend, so it was easier to act like them than to be judged or scrutinized for her own personality and behavior.
Ding, ding, ding. You just nailed it, Beck. They know they're unlikable with their own personality. They are fully aware of that, and they also don't have a sense of self. So they're going to mimic what they think people like, which is sad, really, which is sad. But you nailed it.
I think it's important to find people who like you for who you are, but I think she didn't feel like that was possible, so she had to be someone else with everyone. If she had just been herself, she could have formed real friendships a long time ago and been actually working on herself and improving all this time.
She always tries to change her personality.
Beck, you are so kind, but nah, homie, nah. The ladies are unlikable. They're just rotten to the core. Just rotten to the core. But you're very sweet with that statement.
But she always comes across as a douche. Doesn't matter which personality she picks, it's douche, 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 douche. So she needs to get better at that. Did Amber ever admit to lying about a disorder? There's so many examples of her lying about being diagnosed with stuff.
She never admitted to lying about a disorder, but I think that's because she genuinely believes that she has every single one that she says she has. She would sell.
Wait, you mean to tell me that Wednesday Addams actually thought ASMR was a disorder? Was a disorder? I knew she was down, but damn. Do not tell me that she was trolling. You guys have been giving Amber way too much credit by saying that she was trolling. No. Homegirl was never. She was 98% honest and 2% trolling, and we gave it way too much credit by saying that she was trolling. She was just that effing stupid. Stop saying that she did a lot of trolling. No, she didn't. She was just that effing stupid.
Self-diagnosed constantly based on how she felt and a few Google searches. She was constantly worried about every symptom she had, so she would always come up with a diagnosis on her own for each one. It's a bad habit and not a good way.
So we got a hypochondriac in our hands that never wanted to see doctors. On point.
Way to find out what's really going on with you. She would go to the ER so often, but rarely or never go to a primary care physician, OBGYN, psychologist, or therapist who could have been much more helpful. And as we know, when she would go see those doctors, it would just be a few times before she would never go again.
Amber has accused you of not allowing her to explore her bisexuality. Did she also prevent you from expressing your desire?
Wait, what? Damn. I missed this era. Wait, what? Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I need to go back and listen to this era. God damn.
To be, see my little Jupiter's Delight smile? It's because it's coming up in a video. Wow. She seems very upset by the implication that she would date anyone that isn't expressly she, her.
While with Amber, she would be very defensive anytime I'd try to ask her if she may be bisexual. She would say no and accuse me of trying to label her or change who she was. I'd ask about it because she would talk a lot about being with guys, the incident at the movie theater, and about other things she did. It was okay to talk about, but it felt odd to me just how often it was brought up. I think back on it now.
For those who do not know, Amber Leafly, once in a while, she used to bring it up a lot during the Destiny era and apparently during the Beck's era, where she gave double handy in a movie theater. That's her proudest moment being with guys. So, yeah. There you go. I don't have that knowledge in my head only anymore. So, I'm happy to spread it around. So, there you go.
And I do think that she might have said those things so often to get some kind of reaction out of me, maybe to see if I get jealous about it. I do understand being confused about your identity and wanting to explore that, but I was never really given that opportunity to support her or to allow her to explore that part of her. We didn't talk more about it because she was so adamant that she only liked women and would shut me down anytime I asked about possibly being bi. I think it did affect me in a way, especially after the breakup and once she opened up more about it while with Jade. Jade was bisexual and poly, and Amber started to explore that more with Jade. At some point, and I've admitted this before, I think I let myself feel.
Oh, so listen up, you guys. Conspiracy, whatever. Since Jade was bi and poly, do you think Amber let a dude stick a tip in? Oh my god. Oh my god. This is alleged. Anyways, let's continue.
A little bit like if I were to be with a bi woman, she would eventually leave me for a man. That was an awful way of thinking and really pushed an awful stereotype as well as erasing the experience of bi individuals. I hate that I let myself have those thoughts, and I'm so sorry to anyone who may have noticed that I felt that way and were hurt by it. It was an awful way to view things. I've worked really hard to no longer have that type of bias anymore. I understand now that my experiences have nothing to do with bisexual women as a whole, and my experiences should never affect my expectations of others in the future. As for my experience as a non-binary person with Amber, I did bring it up a few times in our relationship. The only response I got was always, I don't know, you seem like a woman to me. It took me saying something publicly in a video recently to get her to respect my pronouns and name. So I don't think that if I'd come out at that time, that she would have respected that decision.
What was the worst?
Listen, I don't want you guys to think that I'm letting Beck get away scot-free. I remember there was a clip of Beck and Amber in the car, and Beck going on and on why Mel wanted to be with females. They only wanted to get them knocked up and tear them up in the kitchen. A lot of people were outraged about that. That was terrible. But anyways, I'm just glad that Beck is taking some ownership in her part. But yeah, I still remember that clip of Beck going on and on about straight women and why. Yeah, whatever. Let's continue.
argument you and Amber got into. I'm sure it's all just molded into one horrible hue, but does anything stand out?
You're right. There was so much fighting that it has all melted together in my memory, and they were all really difficult. It's hard to pick out just one. I think the arguments that stand out the most for me are the ones where I got so overwhelmed that I had to leave the house and get away. One time, Amber, Eric, Ricky, and I were watching Adventure Time, and Eric changed the channel without asking. Amber, even though she did not like Adventure Time, and even though it was Eric's TV, had a huge blow-up. I'd had enough, and I left without grabbing my wallet, my bra, or shoes. I drove an hour to my sister's and showed up at her doorstep barefoot and crying. I just wanted to escape.
What was the date of the...
Damn. That's insane. Crying over TV that was not even yours. The show you were not even interested in just because somebody stopped it. Homegirl needs to be locked up in a padded room and get some serious therapy, and also needs to see a psychologist. This is not normal. This is not normal. Normally, whether you have roommates or not, you with a partner, and they're watching something that you do not like, you let them enjoy themselves, you walk away, keep yourself busy somewhere, or you sit there and watch it with them, whether you like it or not. This is insane. This is absolutely insane, you guys.
We Have Broke Up live stream like? Great question. What was the pre-live stream, and more importantly, what was the post-live stream like? Good question. I don't think about these things. The live stream itself was so uncomfortable, with ALR just staring off into the distance and making Beck do all the talking and responding to the chat. What was the rest of the day like? Yeah.
The day of the We Broke Up live stream was really stressful. She spent the day asking me if I was sure about my decision, guilting me about how she wasn't sure what she would do without me, trying her hardest to make me feel awful. I wouldn't be there to take care of her anymore, and that's what she was most affected by.
Exactly, Beck. Exactly. She didn't care about you as a person, but she cared about your services. About your services. Amber, you are crap, my dude. You are crap. And you guys, the weirdest thing is, for the longest time, I favored Amber over my Canadian bacon. Because I haven't watched Amber for many years, until like in recent months. And then I was reminded how awful this person is. She is absolutely awful. Now I despise both of them. I despise both of these ladies. It's insane.
During that live stream and the following ones, it was obvious to me that she was trying to insult me and put me down to the audience. She really thought she was being clever. I knew I had to be there until I could get my things to move out, and with the promise of being paid monthly to help me get back on my feet, I tried to keep things amicable. I did try to clap back a few times though. For over a week, it was an emotional roller coaster, going from being completely fine to begging for me to come back, then emotionally manipulating me in an effort to get me to rethink my decision, and then being angry at me. Once Jade came into the picture, all manipulation toward getting me back ended, and there were no longer any moments of being nice to me. Everything
Yeah, because she found herself a second wifey. That is why she didn't care about you. She just cared about your services. Do you guys think that Jade wiped her ass too? How much payment do you think? Do you think Jade? I think she actually did pay Jade. I don't think Jade was stupid or lax about her payments as Beck was. Honestly. Oh, Amber, you're disgusting.
Came about rubbing this new relationship in my face and making sure I knew how quickly she had moved on, and making the split up as hard for me as it could possibly be. She treated Jade much better than she'd ever treated me, and she made sure that I saw that.
Amber, you're pure garbage. Just like my Canadian bacon, pure garbage. And people will always say these girls never get the karma. They are living that karma. My Canadian bacon is stuck in Kuwait pretending to be married to somebody that doesn't even want to be with her. Her body is her prison. Karma. Amber, her body is her prison. Karma. These ladies are living their karma.
I like this one. Thank you so much, Beck, for speaking out against narcissistic abusers. It helped me recognise a lot of similarities in the way one of my family members treats the rest of us. Families, man. Oh, don't get me started. And enabled me to start doing my own research on how to handle the situation. I have a question based on my own experience with that family member. Did Amber ever ridicule you or generally make you feel bad for the things you enjoy, like drawing, video games, or watching certain shows? If so, do you think she did that to make herself feel better, or as a way of exerting control over you?
I'm so happy that I can help empower others to speak up on similar experiences. I also really like to hear that it's helpful in recognizing this kind of behavior in others' lives. I appreciate everyone who tells their stories and who just supports or watches in general. Thank you, Zalaris4144. So, she did make mean remarks about the way I dressed and the way I decorated. Otherwise, she didn't actively put down my interest, often outside of random comments here and there. I think that's because she just showed no interest in anything I liked, was doing, or enjoyed. We were always doing separate things in the same room together.
Amber's probably watching this. Douche. Was Amber ever truly concerned about her health, like hygiene, mobility, etc., or was it all just an act? Wishing the best for you, Beck.
Amber did say that she was concerned for her mobility and that she wanted to be more mobile, but never did anything about it while with me. I think that was because her online presence was more important than improving her quality of life.
Yep, and that's what I like to call dying for views. These ladies are marking themselves for effing views. Yep.
Just like with her health. She wasn't concerned about how that lack of mobility affected me either, and how much work and effort I had to put in to help her due to those things deteriorating. As for her hygiene, she really never brought up concern about it. She would douse herself in perfume sometimes to help any issues, but that's all. I won't go into detail about smells or anything too personal, but her hygiene did affect everyone around her, myself, and others' personal belongings, and she did not show concern for any of those things.
Lord, what Beck is trying to say without saying it, Amber stank up everything. Amber was free bleeding everywhere. The couches in the house, the furniture in the house was not hers. She was willing to free bleed everywhere until somebody came up with a great idea of putting the mattress on the floor for Amber to sit on so she wouldn't stink up the couch or free bleed on the freaking couch because that was not her couch. You're welcome.
What do you think it will take for Amber to change? Ignore that question. Was Amber aware of feeder content, and do you know if she purposely made content for the feeder community? We love you, Beck. Now it's pretty clear she's making feeder content, but back then, did it ever come up?
Personally, I think being deplatformed would be the only way. I'm not saying I want that to happen. No matter how terrible she's treated me and the number of things she's taken from me, I would never wish the loss of a job, stability, or housing on anyone. I know how devastating that is for anyone. YouTube is how she makes a living. It's how she supports herself, and she uses losing her channel and views as an excuse not to change. The only way she would ever change is if it were her only option. So I don't see that ever happening. To answer the second question, Amber never admitted to me that she catered to feeders when deciding on her content or thumbnails. She did tell me that she would do mukbangs because they got views, and would use thumbnails showing herself eating for the same reason. Knowing how often she read through her comments and looked at anything online related to her, I can't imagine that she wasn't aware of what she was doing. It definitely felt like feeder content, but whether she made anything outside of YouTube for that purpose, or talked to anyone about feederism specifically, she never mentioned.
Does Beck know anything about Amber's falling out with Crystal? Actually, that is a good question. Yeah, tried being mates like she does with all her exes. And then it stops.
From what I witnessed, Amber very frequently reached out to Crystal. When Crystal got into a relationship with Nina, Amber was not a fan of having to share Crystal's time and attention with someone else, even though she was the one to introduce them to each other. Amber talked bad about Nina a lot to Crystal in an attempt to split them up. When I told her to leave them alone, Amber made it seem like she was just parroting things I'd told her about my own experience with Nina, and doing it to defend Crystal and to defend me and what happened in my relationship with Nina. I didn't want those things to come between them. What happened with Nina and I was unrelated, and I won't talk more about that experience because it doesn't compare to how Amber treated me at all. Eventually, Crystal got fed up and cut Amber off, understandably.
Okay, I do remember this part. Remember there was a chick named Rave that was also friends with Fina, whatever her name was? And I remember Crystal came to Kentucky to visit them. They were going on a date, Amber and everybody else. And what was her name? Destiny. And Dane and everybody went out together. And then they did a You Now live stream where Rave was going on and on and on about Fina. And apparently you could tell in a clip, I need to find that clip, I know exactly where to find it, where Amber lied to Rave saying that Fina sent Amber nudes. And when Rave asked Amber on the live stream, Amber forgot her lie. It took a minute to realize, oh yeah, I did tell you that lie. You could tell, like, it's like, oh shit, I told you that lie, and came back. I would not be surprised if people clipped that and sent it to Crystal. Because after that, Crystal was supposed to go to Kentucky to visit Amber. And she never showed up. And I think that's when the relationship severed. Her parents vetoed the whole friendship with Amber. And we never heard about Crystal ever since then. I was looking for that video. and show you exactly what I'm talking about, you guys. So I think it ties into the whole Crystal cutting off Amber, honestly.
Hi, Beck. When you both lived together, did she ever sit outside? How come she never goes outside, even to just sit out there? Did you get bored with being inside with her a lot of the time? I remember watching a clip from that era in one video, well, only one video, where Amber's like, oh, it's nice to just sit outside. I think that was her at her heaviest. So yeah, did she ever go outside? Did you get sick of being inside all the time?
She would sometimes sit outside on the front steps, but not often at all. She usually just stayed in the bedroom and on the bed. I did get really tired of those four walls, and it really contributed to my depression. I think the reason she didn't go out more often was likely due to mobility, but also just her being content with her laptop, phone, and everything else being taken care of for her.
Did you believe Amber's huge list of mental disorders she said she was diagnosed with? Before she met you, she said she was diagnosed with ASMR. Before she started YouTube, she did a post saying, I've been diagnosed with ASMR. So she lies about that stuff. Did you believe everything?
No, I knew that everything she'd mentioned being diagnosed with were all self-diagnosed. There was never any confirmation that I knew of for anything she'd mentioned having aside from cancer.
What are your thoughts on Amber stealing Casey? Oh, okay, there you go, Casey. Stealing Casey's coming out story. Did Amber tell you anything similar while with you? Cheers, Beck. In case you don't know, Casey told YouTube their coming out story. Amber had the exact same, word for word, the exact same coming out story. So
I do remember this. This is so gross of you, Amber. This is so disgusting of you, my dude.
So bizarre. How bizarre.
I know that I asked Amber about her coming out story, but I think she kept it vague. She said that she always knew she liked women and that her dad didn't take it well. I had to go back and watch the Ankles video on Amber's coming out story to see what story she told YouTube. I don't remember her telling me anything about a note or anything else in that video. But no, I'm really never surprised to hear about Amber lying about anything.
Oh gosh, I'm late and there are already so many questions, but here's mine. You made the cut, well done. You recently said that Amber used to be so mean to her mom, that she would make her cry. Did Amber ever make you cry in front of her? And what was...
I mean, are we surprised? There was a recent video of Amber and her mom outside, and the way Amber spoke to her mom, I know her mom had a lot of issues, but damn, I could never. Yeah. She has no respect for anybody else.
Amber's response to seeing you and or her mother crying?
Amber made me cry many, many times in front of her. For someone who claims to be an empath, she really seemed to enjoy making people angry or pushing someone to their emotional limit based on how often she would do that to me and anyone else around her. Amber's reaction was always to not acknowledge that the emotional response was due to her actions. We were always made to feel like we were exaggerating or that whatever was done to us wasn't a big deal. We just shouldn't be upset with her. She would say that she didn't understand why we were upset. She could never understand why her actions and the things she said could hurt or upset others. I do think she understood, but she just did not care at all. If someone upset Amber, though, it was everyone's problem, and there was no such thing as an overreaction.
How much time in a day would you get to spend by yourself? Like, how often did she expect you to hang in the same room as her? Versus how often you could have some alone time in another room? Did she control most of your schedule?
I would spend all my time in the same room with her outside of bathroom breaks and any time I would leave to get food or see my family. There were a lot of times where she would keep me from seeing them all together, but a lot of those times I would go anyway and just decided to deal with the consequences when I got home.
Well, what do you mean consequences? I'm baffled by that statement. I understand. I am just dumbfounded by that. Holy crap. Let's continue.
I was leaving with or without her permission, there would be a time limit, and while I was gone, I would receive text messages to guilt me saying things like, I wish I wasn't home by myself. During the bad times, where I was heavily medicated and depressed, she did spend a lot of time in the dining room where she would do puzzles while I slept. She did control the schedule, though I would sleep when I wanted to, except for all the times she would wake me up in the middle of the night to take care of something for her. When she wanted to fix a sleeping schedule, she would have us stay awake for 24 hours, then crash at 9 p.m. the next day. Then she would stay up late again the next night, or a few nights later anyway, making that entire day of exhaustion for nothing.
Can we please lock this woman? She needs to be locked up. This is a sociopath. I'm sorry. So what now? Beck, you're a better person than I will ever be. And I see you dealt with that? Hell no.
Whenever Amber would say she didn't like a meal or was done eating and showed a plate of food with some food left, would she eat it when the camera was off? She does that now.
I don't remember her ever throwing anything half-eaten away. If we were at a restaurant, she always finished her meal. If she said that she didn't like something, she'd usually eat it anyway, then order something else later.
Like, duh. Who'd actually believe that Amber didn't finish a plate? She says a lot of shit. Like, who believes anything that comes out of her mouth? Come on now. We all knew that she finished all the food.
Right, here we go. In the initial days post-breakup, did Amber try and make you get back together? Didn't think about that one. Or did she ever manipulate you to try and make you feel like you should get back together? Also, when you announced the breakup on stream, did she ever guilt you about it off screen? Or put it off for long periods of time?
The breakup live stream happened just a day or so after the breakup. I think she spent about 24 hours guilting me offline and trying to change my mind, then couldn't wait to go live and publicly make me feel guilty for my decision once it became clear to her that the guilt trip wasn't working. Even while Amber was dating Jade, she was still saying things to me like, "You should feel like crap for dumping me like that," or "I can't believe you dumped me like you did."
You are terrible, trying to get out of an abusive relationship. What were you thinking, Amber's watch? The state of Twinkie, nails are back to being long. Amber's trying to prove she's looking after the pets. Oh, look at me brushing wasabi. Can you look at wasabi when you're doing it instead of eye banging the camera?
From my experience, she does not properly take care of her animals when living alone. I haven't seen Amber or Twinkie and Wasabi in years, so there's no way for me to know for sure if she truly takes them to see the vet regularly, grooms them, or cleans the litter boxes enough. After hearing about Rarity, it does worry me. I can't say for sure.
I wonder if you...
Well, from Beck's previous video, she did say when she first met Amber, Amber had a spare bedroom where she had pee pads and the cats were pooping and peeing all over the mattresses, and now apparently she has a 2-bedroom. She keeps on saying that she takes what's the dog's name? The dog out. But she never ever vlogs it because she knows she'll be vlogging the living shit out of that if she actually did that. So people are speculating that all the pets, well now we're down to 2, are peeing and pooping in the 2nd bedroom, so she doesn't have to do anything for the animals. Gross.
You could give us more insight into your family's intervention when they started saying red flags and when they started to warn you about the relationship.
My family saw red flags from the beginning. My mom, my sisters, and their then husbands all quickly had arguments with Amber. My family is not perfect, and some of them have very, very different opinions from mine, and not all of them support me. But my sisters and my mom did, and were nice to Amber. Amber would go out of her way to stir the pot and start arguments with them. My family pointed out that Amber was controlling, that I was seeing them so much less, and voiced their concerns about my well-being while caring for her to the extent that I did. The day of the intervention, my family asked to meet me at a park, and I had no idea why. This all happened during the bad times, so I don't remember everything that was said. My mom was the one who planned it. She talked to my sisters and said that she wanted to meet up with me away from the rest of the family and talk about her concerns. My mom and sisters all met me at the park and sat down with me. Mom felt like I was being held hostage by Amber and being kept from seeing the family.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. And also, you guys remember, the story is that Crystal tried, it took her like 2 or 3 times trying to break up with Amber. And finally, it took her family to step in, especially her aunt, to step in, because the first time when Crystal broke up with Amber, Amber talked Crystal out of breaking up with her because she would have been homeless, because she didn't have the next victim in waiting. Destiny. Victim. So Crystal took her back, and then she tried again and again. Amber was not accepting it. It took a family intervention. Her aunt had to tell Amber, kick rocks. She doesn't want to be with you anymore. And we know after that whole thing, they felt bad for Amber, tried to be copacetic with her, and then she went and did Crystal dirty with her girlfriend. So what else is new?
She saw the state my mental health was in because she had never seen it become so bad before. Because of that, she was really concerned for my safety and just wanted me to leave her in the situation I was in.
Crazy. Can you tell when Hamber is fake crying? I can. If so, what is her biggest tell? Love to see you thriving in a relationship with a beautiful woman. Your iceberg videos have been so fun. It'll be interesting when you, Beck, when you get all the Amber stuff out and then it's just passion project after passion project. Anyway, can you tell when Amber is fake crying?
When Amber actually cries, there are real tears. She sobs, her shoulders shake, and her voice squeaks. I don't think I've ever seen her genuinely cry on camera. In her last response to Beck video, her eyes are dry, and she changed her voice a little to sound emotional, but you can tell it's not real. She did that a lot while filming, then would stop the video and turn around like nothing had happened.
Yep, which is why Amber gets upset when people have an Amber. People have a pet, and that pisses her off. She did so many try crime videos that she gets upset when people call her out on the bullshit. But it's okay, Beck. We can all tell when she's fake crying. Psychopath. Absolute psychopath.
Also, thank you. I can't wait to do more videos showing my interests in things I love.
What is ALR really diagnosed with? Yeah. Anything? Or would she just come back and go, I got diagnosed with all this? I don't know why she's obsessed with being diagnosed with stuff.
While with me, the only thing she was ever diagnosed with besides cancer was bipolar disorder. Eric, Amber, and I all visited the same doctor who diagnosed all three of us with bipolar disorder and prescribed us all the same medication based on a questionnaire the doctor had given us. The doctor eventually took me off that medicine and said my diagnosis may have been incorrect due to my reaction to the medicine. Amber stopped taking it and seeing the doctor altogether. I continued seeing that doctor for years. I don't know about any other official diagnosis she's ever received, and there were no more given while with me.
Oh, yeah, because she's nuts. Was there ever a moment to where you were in so much fear from Amber Lynn that you wanted to call for help via police, family, etc.? That's a sad one. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I ever felt the need to call the police. I didn't feel physically threatened by Amber, but I did sometimes feel like calling for my family, either wanting to just talk to them or needing to run to them to be by their side for emotional support.
Did ALR put times on more things than what?
I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just taking this all in. I'm just like, holy crap. The woman is insane. And then you have people that sought this woman out, like Emily, like Jade. These are people who actually watched her channel and knew exactly what she was all about, and they sought after her. I think Jade was the smart one. She got a car out of this whole entire situation. Jade went in to get a bag. Emily went in to get a bag of lard, but it didn't work out very well for her. And then you have people in the DMs fighting over this woman, knowing how she's like. And then, like Alexis, when they're done wrong, they come to the interwebs, going about it and expecting the rest of us to be like, oh, poor you. No, homies, go after yourselves. I said what I said.
You've already told us. How many other things did you do that with?
She would put timers on cleaning, but I kind of found that helpful sometimes. She'd sit in one spot and clean the areas that she could reach from her seat while I cleaned everywhere else. If I watched a movie in the living room with friends or did anything outside of the room she was in and she didn't plan on joining, she'd always ask how long the movie was or what I'd be doing and for how long. I don't know if she'd set a timer in those instances, but I would get a text right around the time I estimated asking if I was done and when I'd be coming back. She'd set a timer for lint picking, back brushing, and massages, and any activities we did together. She'd timer while we watched a movie. When that timer would go off, she'd spend 15 minutes on her computer. Then she'd either go back to the movie for 10 more minutes or pick another activity and go back to the movie after. Sometimes it was reading, journaling, or choosy. If I was in the bathroom, there would be no timer, but she would text, call, or yell to tell me I'm taking too long.
So you guys, I know there's a couple parts in this video where I'm a little stuttering a little bit because I'm just like, my brain is firing rapid and my mouth cannot catch up. So I'm just like, yeah. So forgive me on that. I was going to end the video here, but apparently I need to listen to more pertinent parts to add to this video. I need to add more to this video. So this might be up not until, what's today? Tuesday? Wednesday. But yeah, I need to get some sleep or work to double. But yeah, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Okay, so I cut out a lot of the video. I'll link Beck's channel, and I got this clip from Mr. Snowflakes. The part I really, really wanted to hear, and I will link him to, and that he needs my little channel to link him. His reaction is exactly my reaction when it pertains. Okay, so the parts that I cut out is Beck confirming that Amber stinks. Amber stinks so bad that her family members, everybody around her, will go to Beck and say something to Beck about Amber stinking and due to lack of showering, and she'll blame it in her depression and her size and blah blah blah. It's like, get in the shower, you'll feel better, sweetie, type of situation. Anyways, so this is the part I was waiting on. Let's go into this.
To you and Amber, people often mention financial abuse, which is not something I immediately think of when I think of abuse, but it's still a form of abuse. I always think of physical or emotional, but then I see people talking about financial. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that's one as well. That's a big one as well. Can you think of any big examples of Amber abusing you financially?
Amber constantly held over my head that she was the only one with an income. During almost every argument, she would tell me how she pays all the bills and buys all the food, as if that gave her a right to control me, and as if I contributed nothing to her life. I would tell her each time that if she felt that way, I'd gladly go back to working. She'd quickly say, no, 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 I don't want you to do that. And she didn't. She couldn't handle being apart from me for any extended period of time. She needed a
Hey, Beck, just a reminder, Amber still owes you money for working for her. Don't forget that. She still owes you money for working for her. Just putting that in there.
caretaker, and that was already my full-time job and a thankless one. Despite that, and doing what I could to contribute by also being in the vlogs, when she knew full well that I didn't want to be, in order to earn the home I was living in her mind, she would also be sure to take away any money I'd get from other sources. I mentioned this before, but even being seen collecting change would trigger her to question whether I was saving up to leave her. When my mother passed away, me and my siblings received a portion of a settlement from my dad's job that ended up being around $5,000 to $6,000 for each of us. I was not allowed to keep it. She told me that the money had to go into paying the bills and my half of
Okay, this is the part where people would tell me that it would infuriate me. Holy shit. Amber, not only do you owe Beck for working for you 24/7, you owe her for working for you 24/7. And people say, oh, she owed rent. Yeah, that's half of the rent. You need to pay Beck for working for you 24/7. You're owed thousands of dollars back. And then on top of that, she stole money from your parents. Holy crap. Sue her.
the rent. My mom had plans for when she would have received that money before she passed away. Getting it was bittersweet, and I would have liked to use it in some way to honor her. She wouldn't have wanted Amber to have it, and it really hurt, but she took it anyway. When I told her that I would like to do something with the money, she dismissed it and treated me like I owed it to her, and it wasn't my choice. She said that I couldn't have it because the bills needed to be paid, even though I knew that she was making enough from YouTube to cover bills and rent with no problem.
Yeah.
The reaction on Snowflake's face, that's my reaction. Holy crap. Amber, I'm sorry. I like to think that kids are not born bad, but I'm sorry. There are some people who are just born rotten. And Amber is one of those people. Ma'am, you're living your karma. People say this woman doesn't, she is living her karma, and I hope everything in your life keeps on getting worse and worse and worse for you. This is sick, my dude. This is some sick shit. Holy crap. But you guys, thank you for watching. I'm going to end it here. Damn.